Hi, welcome to Module 4 of Strategies for Marketing Success. This will be an online session, so I'm going to record a short lecture for you since we won't be meeting face-to-face. This time, this particular section of the course, we're going to be talking about product and price. And the first thing we want to do is define what product means. You can think about that for a second if you like. But what we want to do is establish the fact that products and services are all lumped together these days and under the term product. It used to be many years ago we separated them out, tangible versus intangible, etc. But now the lines are really quite blurred, and so all items are considered, whether they're a product, a tangible or an intangible type of service, under the term product. They can also be an idea or a concept. Anything that can be exchanged in an exchange of values can be considered a product in terms of our marketing strategy. We're going to start working our way through the marketing mix, which is often referred to as the 4 Ps. The first one that is usually introduced is product, so we're going to start there today. And then we'll follow it up with price. The others are place and promotion, which we'll then talk about in week 5. The marketing mix really is about operationalizing your strategy, your marketing strategy. And this is where we get into the tactics of implementing a strategy. And what we want to do is make sure that we visit each of these 4 Ps in detail and make sure that decisions that we make fit with our strategy and they all work together to help bring that forward. So a product can be a product item, one single item, it can be a product line, or it can be a mix of things, a product mix. So really, as we talked about in class the other day, it's about how we're going to brand it, group it, and position it in the minds of those in our target market or markets. There are a couple of ways that we can look at consumer products. One is to divide them into 4 different categories, which is a fairly common thing in our study of marketing. The first are convenience products, and these are items that we use frequently. They're usually low-cost items, or can be, and we don't give them much thought. We run in, we grab the items, we typically go to the same product over and over again. We don't spend a lot of time on research, etc. And you can see from the picture that I put up there, these are often daily use items like paper towels, Kleenex, toilet paper, cleaning supplies, laundry, etc. Shopping products are items that we spend a little bit more time and energy on making our purchase decision. And I used apparel as an example. So when we shop for clothing or shoes, we typically will put a little bit more thought into the product that we're actually going to purchase. We may do a little bit more research, we may talk to friends and family, so we're not going to make a cavalier decision the way we might with convenience products. However, that said, we're not going to spend hours and hours and hours researching. Specialty items are those that we shop for very infrequently. They're often very high ticket items. I use the sports car as an example because that's an easy one to use. And also, but anything that you're going to spend a lot more research on, you're spending a lot of resource on, so you want to make sure that you know what you're purchasing and that you'll be satisfied with your purchase. So think about those infrequent lifetime purchases. Unsought products are those that we don't seek out or we don't think about, and usually we just one day need to purchase them. So a burial plot or a casket is depicted here in this, the lower right picture. Insurance is another example that's often used for this type of product. Part of a product, though, is not just what's inside the package or the box, but the packaging itself. And it accomplishes a lot of different things, as you can see up on the screen here. So, for instance, Dutch Boy revolutionized a paint can and turned it into a pour item, an item that you could pour from, that really made life a lot easier for those of us who are weekend painters. So it's not just the actual item inside, but the packaging itself can be used to call our attention, can be colorful, it can help it stand out. It can also protect it, so it may have special protection or protect it from shoplifting, as some of us have found. When we go to purchase something and we have to wait for the cashier to take off some sort of security device on it. We also can use it for messaging. So you'll see the picture on the right has a green symbol on it, which might signify that it is environmentally sound or a sustainable product. We see that with organic items that, particularly in the grocery store now. So the packaging is considered really part of the product itself. Products, like companies, have a life cycle, and this is really important in how we market and what our strategy is and how much we're spending. It's similar from birth to decline, and I used a graph from a different textbook than yours because I really like this. I think it's clear, it's simple, and it signifies what we're looking at here. But you can see that there is an upswing in both revenue and profit, which track closely, by the way, in the introductory stage, and then it really steepens in the growth stage. As more and more people adopt it, it becomes more well-known and familiar and kind of mainstream. Then it flattens out in terms of growth and begins to level off as people, particularly your early adopters, begin to look for new and different products. And the product sales and profits will begin to decline. At that point, we have to think about what we want to do with that product. Do we want to just write out the sales and stop putting more money into it, but use it as a cash cow? Do we want to introduce a competing product that might cannibalize those sales or may help transfer our customers over to a new product, a new and better version of it? So there are a variety of things that we can do. The purpose of this discussion is really to think about the word product, thinking of it as the totality of this product process. So again, it's not just the item that's inside a package, but it's everything that goes with it. Think about the features and benefits that come with that. What wants and needs are we satisfying with this particular product? As we discussed in class, we know that we also have points of differentiation and points of parity when we look at products, product lines, product mixes. And in terms of standing out and developing a sustainable competitive advantage, we really want to look at some points of differentiation. And in terms of products, these are some of the things that we can look at and think about as we design our products and we try to determine what those needs are of our customers to meet those. On the services side of products, we begin to look at a little bit different in categories of things. So if you're going in for, if you're looking at a service, let's say you're getting your hair cut, you want to look at some of these other things, or maybe you're getting a new communication device is set up, the service that goes with that. So a lot of this has to do with customer relationship. And we know that in marketing, relationship marketing is very, very important, even in products, and not just, tangible products as well as services. But this is where we really see high levels of relationship marketing if we're going to be successful. So moving on to our second P of price. I mentioned in the very first class that I think this is probably the most difficult one to get right for a lot of different reasons, which you'll discover as you read through your text. And maybe as we talk for a few minutes on this important tactical area of achieving our strategy. Price means different things to different people. So on the seller side, we need to set our price so that we can cover the cost of delivering our product or service, and also hopefully make a profit so that we have a means of sustaining our livelihood or contributing our profits to a nonprofit organization. On the consumer side, it's really about what they're giving up. Cost to them means the price is what they have to sacrifice in order to get something in exchange. And so it's really a way of allocating our resources within our economy. And there are some aspects of price that you probably want to get a little familiar with. The consumer, again, is looking at what they're sacrificing in terms of the pricing to them. So what are they giving up? The other thing that price can do is offer information. So a lot of times the price, the way it's set, can tell you that it has extra features or benefits, or maybe quality is a little higher, maybe it's a stripped down version, etc. And so the price itself can begin to tell us things about the item that we are considering. Value is perception. It's about perceived satisfaction. And I think this is one of the reasons why price is so incredibly difficult to set. Reasonable price and the perception of what is reasonable and valuable varies from person to person. So we're really trying to figure out what is the collective perception of our targeted market. Some concepts that we can take from economics that can help us understand pricing in the marketplace and help us establish price come from the concept of supply and demand. One of those is price equilibrium, which means that price equilibrium is where supply and demand equal out. And we know from our studies in the past that if supply is low or demand is high, then pricing can go up, and the opposite is also true. Another concept that's really important in setting price is customers' elasticity of demand. So if this product or item is really, really important to them, they're more likely to continue. They would consider it to be an inelastic price and be willing to pay as the price goes up for whatever reason. If it's not, so for instance, if their favorite brand of dish detergent begins to climb, that may be a very elastic item for them, and so they would simply switch to a different brand. So that's this concept of elasticity of demand. And here are a couple of definitions for you so that you can kind of get your head wrapped around that and refresh your memory just a little bit on how that works. These are things that affect it. One of the things right on the top is substitutes. So for instance, food, maybe your favorite snack, the price is going up, so you choose a different one. Maybe the cost of coffee is going up, so a substitute for that might be tea, or it could be some sort of other energy drink, depending on why you're drinking coffee. And the purchasing power of consumers and items, features and benefits and durability of the product, how important those are to the consumer. If it's an item that has other uses, so you may perhaps bought it for one thing, but you can use it for many different things, then that can also affect the elasticity of demand for the consumer. One of the perceptions that people have is that price and quality march up and down the scale together. And this is not always actually borne out, but it is a perception, and marketers will take that into consideration. And again, this is a way that we can telegraph information to a customer. If our price is a little higher than a competitor, maybe we're trying to signal that the quality of our product is much greater, our warranty is better, etc. There are a lot of dimensions that we look at. Really what we're wrapping up here is this concept of value. So all of these things have value to us. So what is the most important of these items for your targeted market? And how well are we delivering those? There are a few interesting pricing strategies that we can take a look at. I picked a few of them out here to highlight. And again, you can explore these in your textbook. But a lot of times, for instance, when a new product is offered, technology is a good example. We'll have price skimming, where a really high price will be attached to that product when it's first introduced. And it really gets maximum pricing out of your early adopters who are going to purchase it. Your regular mainstream people aren't going to purchase it yet anyway, so this is a way not to leave money on the table. Kind of an opposite to that would be penetration pricing, where you want to get more people on board with your product, and so you lower the price to try to penetrate a broader base of your targeted market, and hopefully then more people will become loyal and stay with it if you begin to raise your price slightly in the future. The last one I have up here is really fairly common among small business folks. They don't really know where to set price, so they just go out and look at a competitor. Unfortunately, this can sometimes lead to price wars, and it doesn't really take into consideration a lot of other sophisticated areas of pricing, and so it can get you into some trouble. You want to make sure, again, that you can cover your costs, that you're sending the right signals to your customers, etc. Another aspect of pricing is not just the sticker price itself, but it's all of these other things that are rolled into that. And you can see on the screen there's a variety of them. I think many of us became very enamored by discounts and coupons or some sort of creative pricing strategy that allowed for these various value-based pricing items during the Great Recession. And it lasted a long time, and so many of us consider this now something that should always be there. So I think companies have to take this into consideration in how they're presenting their price to their targeted customers. And I think it depends on who they are. Again, for instance, if it's a very high-ticket item, you're not going to offer discounts because you want to send the message that this is an expensive item and this is one that is an aspirational item that people aspire to be wealthy enough to afford. And this leads us to, if we do all of these things, then there is a process that we can go through and that will hopefully lead us to a really good price for our product or service. So the first thing we're going to do is establish our pricing goals. What is it we're trying to accomplish? And then we really need to get out there and estimate the supply and demand and costs to bring this product to the market and establish what sort of profit we need to make on this. The next step is to analyze our competitors' costs and prices. It's really about benchmarking. As I mentioned before, you don't want to set your prices based on what others are doing, but you want to make sure that you're not out on left field. So you benchmark against them because consumers are going to do the same thing. So you want to check your features and benefits and everything that you're offering and see how those stack up and whether or not your pricing seems appropriate, because that's what customers are going to do. And then you can select a pricing method and implement it, and hopefully that results in a correct price setting for your product or service. Before we sign off, I do want to look ahead. Next time we meet, or the next module of our series here, we are going to meet in person, and that'll be on Monday the 22nd in the classroom. And for that night, you want to have read the 3 chapters you see up there, 17, 19, and 22. We're going to jump into our discussion of place or distribution and promotion. So promotion is a pretty fun topic, and I think you'll enjoy it. If there are any videos or activities listed in your syllabus, we'll take care of those in class, so you do not need to do those outside of class. Same thing with any discussions. We'll do those in class as usual. The last thing I'm going to do is leave you with an activity that you might engage in, just to kind of get an idea of how complex pricing is. I think one of the more complex industries is the airline industry. You could be sitting in a seat on a plane and have paid $150 for your ticket. The person next to you might have paid $703 for their ticket. There's so many things that go into it. So I listed a few things here that you can do, and then just kind of look and see for fun where the prices land, and it'll kind of give you an idea of what strategy the airlines use in setting their pricing. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you online this next week and then in person on the 22nd. As usual, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.